This is Joe with St. Bernard Acres. I'm here in the camper van. Took it for a ride and found me a nice little park to get a little secluded back here. And thought I'd shoot a video giving y'all an update on where I stand with the van. The last time I shot a video, we had driven it around a little bit after I got the temperature gauge working. It was running a little hotter than I wanted, so I decided to do a flush out the radiator and the coolant. And hopefully this stays in focus. Hopefully I got enough light. I'm still working on how to do these things. I got one of my little lanterns here. This should provide enough light, but anyway, I decided to flush out the coolant, and didn't seem to help anything. So I could tell by the slush that came out that after sitting for so long, and you know, it's a 27-year-old van, I figured the radiator was clogged up. So I bought a new radiator and a new water pump. I figured I'd change the water pump and the serpentine belt while I was in there. And sure enough, I mean, I pulled that old radiator out and that thing was heavy. I mean, it was so full of crap. Got the new radiator in, new water pump, new serpentine belt. And like an idiot, I forgot to do the heater core. So that was still had air in it. So then I had to go back, you know, because I drove it. And it's like, damn, it's still running hot. I mean, it wasn't overheating. It was just running hotter than it should. And so we did the heater core, flushed that out, and now it runs perfect. I drove it, I don't know, about 45 minutes. It ran great. Drove it to work yesterday, drove it home. Took it down, got the inspection done. It passed inspection. So now it's all 100% legal. And it's ready to roll. So hopefully Sunday, I'm thinking of driving it out to St. Bernard Acres. But I noticed when I was driving it, every now and then, if I, you know, park at an angle or something, stop at an angle, it's like some of that old gas that's in it is still working its way through. I put in a can of seafoam and added a few gallons of fresh gas. There was a little over a quarter of a tank of gas when I bought it, and that stuff was 9 or 10 years old that was in it. So I'm still trying to work that through. I may not drive it out there. I may just keep driving it around and idling it until I get that gas down, or get up underneath there and unhook if I take it off at the fuel filter, I can just turn on the key. The pump will pump the fuel out of the tank, and then I can throw that stuff away and put new gas in and try it. Because it's still, you can feel it sometimes when it's almost like you have a blocked fuel filter or something. And it's a new fuel filter. I mean, it may be blocked. There may have been so much slush in the gas tank, who knows. But I'm still trying to work it out. It's still, you know, worthwhile. I'm not too worried about that. I have everything else just fine. And I thought what I would do is bring you up to date for the new people who've joined, the new people who are looking at this and thinking about joining my channel, for all the adventures I'm going to start having in this van. I would go over what I've spent so far and what I've done to it to get it to the point where it is now. And I've got a list here of everything, if I can find it. Found it. This is where I am so far. Now, this is a 1992 Chevy G20 with the 350 and the 5.7 liter. This van, I showed you the stickers on it, sat since 2010. So for 9 years it sat undriven, unstarted. They did nothing to it. The guy who owned it passed away, and his wife decided to get this out of the yard. It had been sitting on gravel. It hadn't been out in the grass, fortunately. And so I paid $300 for it, not knowing anything. You couldn't start it. There was no battery. You know, the battery was completely dead. All 4 tires were flat, sunk into the ground. I mean, it was bad. So we agreed on $400, and I had to tow it out of there. So since then, that was in October. The end of September, I bought it and brought it home. And this is December 6th. I'm doing this update, and it's now perfectly legal and driving you around. Like I said, I'm driving it. So it's not my daily driver. I still got little things I got to do to it, but now I'm going to start working on the camper part of it. But I'm going to give you my cost to date so far for this van. And keep in mind how many things are brand new in it. So the purchase price was $300. Towing it home was $106. I spent $97 on a battery, $392 on 4 new tires. I went to Walmart. You know, I took off 2, went down there, got them, brought them back. Next day I took off another 2, took them up there. You know, I didn't want to spend a whole lot of money into this because I didn't even know yet whether or not the engine would even turn over, whether it was worth it. I figured, though, for the $300 that I paid for it, if I had to put a new motor in, I'd still be ahead of the game. So, like I said, $392 for tires. I spent $86.49 on the radiator. The radiator was $141. I got a 25% off coupon and then a $20 rebate on that. So I'm like, yeah. $32.50 for the water pump because that was on the same 25% off. $23 for the serpentine belt. $28 for spark plugs. $35 for plug wires. $35 for a distributor cap and button. $14 for a fuel filter. $8.50 for an air filter. $12 for an oil filter. $25 for oil. $7 for a thermostat. $18 for the coolant sensor, coolant temperature sensor, because my gauge wasn't working. So I replaced the coolant temperature sensor, only to find out later that all that does is send the information to the computer. You need a temperature switch to send information to the gauge. So $16 for the temperature switch, $23 on brake pads, $64 on calipers, a $14 brake line, $10 for Seafoam trans tune, $92 for tags and license, $34 for 2 headlights, $5.49 for 2 bulbs that were out, a couple $100 in miscellaneous cost. So, and then I spent $14.66 having it inspected and getting the sticker on it. So right now I'm at $1,665 total spent on this van. And I just went through the list of everything that's brand new in it now. You know, new tires, new battery, new water pump, new radiator, new belts, new filters, new fluids, new brakes, new calipers. You know, I couldn't go buy a van with all of that and only 123,000 miles on it. I don't think I could buy this van as clean as it is for $1,650. So I consider myself ahead of the game and very lucky. And the steps I went through, I put the battery in. I did a video. I showed, look, just turn the key, see if the thing will even crank. See if the motor will crank, then, I had a friend who was going to come over and we were going to drop the gas tank and clean it out and all that kind of stuff. Well, Alex turned the key and the van started. And it started running with the gas. I mean, the way it sat in the field for 9 years. It just started running. I'm like, wow. I put it in gear, let it go forward a little bit. The brake was sticking. Backed it back up. Said, wow, I couldn't believe it was running. And I'd put in a bottle of seafoam into the gas tank. So the next step, the battery, the tires. Then I bought the fuel filter, the oil, thermostat, and temperature sensor. Put those in, started it up. Then I could get heat out of the heater. I wasn't getting heat out of the heater before because I figured the thermostat was stuck open. That's why I went ahead and replaced it. So I was getting heat out of the vent finally, but I still wasn't getting the temperature gauge working. I thought maybe the gauge was bad. And then I found out you need a different switch, temperature sensor switch, to send a signal to the gauge. I put in new plugs, new plug wires, new distributor cap, new button. I'm kind of working my way forward, everything we did to it. And that started it. I mean, that made it run. It ran real nice. There was no problem with the oil that was in it. The transmission fluid looked great. I mean, it shifted through all the gears. So I didn't worry about changing that out. I did put the thing of seafoam in the transmission. And, I've had it out on the freeway at 60 miles an hour. Not had a problem. Did put on new brake pads, new calipers. I had bought new rotors, but once I got this stuff off, the rotors were in good shape. I just had to clean them up. So I didn't have to replace them. I have a few vacuum hoses I want to replace still because I need to replace all of them. But I changed the radiator, the water pump, serpentine belt. I found out this has 123,000 miles on it. At 105,000 miles, he had changed the timing chain. So I wasn't worried about that. I don't have an overheating problem now. I drive it, $1,650 so far. And the thing's in mint condition. There's videos of the interior and pictures of how clean it all is. And this is going to become just a weekend camping van. That's all it's going to become. And primarily for me. It won't be me and Gail. We're going to get a pop-up if she wants to go camping. We go someplace. I'll take the truck and tow the pop-up. But this will be for me to go out and, spend the night in places. And go traveling. So I'll be getting all my camping gear in here, getting it set up as that. I'm not going to strip this out. I'm going to leave it the way it is. I'm not going to be camping in, super cold weather. So I don't have to worry about it. I think these are insulated well enough. I'm hoping. I don't know. It's comfortable in here right now. I had it running for a while because I drove it around a little bit before I, found a place to park. And it's still very comfortable in here. It's outside. It's probably in the 30s and very windy. and you can't hear anything in here and you can't feel anything in here. But that's my update on my camper van. I can't wait now to start getting all my gear in it. I'll do another video in daylight when I have actual lights of all the gear that I use. I got a lot of new camping and bushcraft type gear that I want to do reviews on and talk to y'all about, and I'll be able to use this to do that. I'll use this as my home base, but I'll get to use a lot of this stuff I've had that, you know, I've gotten to where I don't think I will enjoy much anymore tent camping and sleeping on the ground. I've done a lot of that and I loved it. But now, you know, at 62, I want something different, and this thing will fold right out into the bed. I don't have to build a bed. I don't have, you know, I'll build me a little cabinet and a thing for my stove where I can cook if it's raining outside. But stuff I can take out when I get ready to sell this van, when I can put the captain's chairs back in it and have it exactly the way it was. You know, a nice 30-year-old conversion van. But this is it. This is my first time, you know, experiencing it out, you know, and I know I'll eventually get it set up where even if I have lights on in here, you won't be able to see them, you know, from the outside. I am going to set it up that way. I mean, I have the curtains and I have blinds. They don't block out 100%. And I'll have to fashion something to go across the, you know, the cabin up there. But I could stealth camp in this thing. I mean, I want to do a night in a Walmart and, you know, things like that just to experience it and see what it's like. I've always had that, you know, a little bit of a nomadic bug in me. So that would be cool to do. But anyway, I ramble on. Like I said, I hope y'all enjoy this. Subscribe, like, share, ring that little bell so you know when I'm putting up more videos of my adventures. And we're going to have a lot of fun. But that's where I am so far with it. That's my update for y'all. Thank y'all for watching. I'm out.